Hi, this is On Imagination with the Healing Garden. We're going to talk about bullying. It's so weird. So I started all of this. Oh God, how long was it ago? Oh my God. In 2015, I wanted to understand what bullying was. Bullying is where all of this started. I wanted to understand why my children were being bullied, what was going on underneath it, and where it started. And what I started to unravel was all of this. So everything you see here is because I pulled the thread, what is bullying really? And I just started to unravel that thing. So to be talking about bullying, it's very nostalgic for me on a research level because it's like I'm at the beginning of the end. I'm like, oh, I made it back again. We're right back to where I started. I've gone the full circle now. You know your research is complete when you're right back at the beginning. So this is what I concluded after 9 years of research on bullying. Do you know that adults can be bullied? And this is really something we don't talk about. It's not at all. Now, the word bully is a really nice word to say, you're an asshole, which is so common today. Yeah, I'm an asshole. And they don't do anything about it. So now you've got this world of the abused versus tyrants. Let's call them tyrants, because that's really what we're dealing with here. Now, I want to give you some perspective. I love giving people perspective. We're going to talk about a tyrant. My favorite musical in the world is 1776. I learned a lot about John Adams. You can go ahead and look through all of my work and go, whoa, you've got a lot of John Adams influence here. That's right, I do. And it's because of 1776. So here's what's going on. The entire thing, the entire 1776 musical, depicts how the Declaration of Independence came to exist. It was a diversion tactic. They did a little bit of manipulating in the Congress room, and they decided to cast a vote. Right then on the spot, they were going to decide right then and there that we were going to be or not be independent. It had to be unanimous, and that's all there was to it. And at that particular moment, literally more than half of the congressmen were against independence. So John Adams was like, and he needed a diversion. He needed to buy himself time to win all of these people over to independence. So he proposed the writing of a declaration to declare their treason. And it was like you want us to formally declare treason in a written document? And he's like, yes, absolutely. It would be elegant. So they granted him a postponement of this vote. And that allowed him the time to write the declaration and then lay out the terms. Well, he did a whole lot of lobbying with the rest of Congress. He was the first lobbyist to bring people together under why they required independence. And here we are today, moving on to July 4th in America, which really isn't free at all. That's one of the lies that I'm going to be talking to you about. So they're going through the document and they're ripping it apart. It's 3 days of grueling revision work and editing, and it is brutal what they rip apart. And Thomas Jefferson just sits back and he agrees to almost everything that they rip apart in the Declaration of Independence, with the exception of two things. Actually, let me think. One thing. There is one particular topic that Thomas Jefferson refused to bend on, and that was the discussion that the king is a tyrant. And immediately they're like, wait a minute, independence, okay, mother country, okay, but now we're calling the king a tyrant? And they scratched out the word tyrant, and Jefferson says, scratch that back in. Scratch it back in, the king will remain a tyrant. So now it's really, let's sit down and talk about what a tyrant is. Tyranny. I'm going to go ahead and just grab the dictionary and we're going to talk about this. Now, I am not directing this speech toward a government body. I just want to clarify that. This time, I am directing it against our own abusers, specifically the narcissists in our lives and the bullies. But the word, literally, the word abuser is toxic. You can see where these words just aren't getting through to people. cruel and oppressive ruler. Now, I want to talk about this word because what's going on is in the sixth ethic, we learn about equal footing, and every victim knows this. Equal footing. To be taken advantage of is to be abused from an upper hand. It's when somebody who has the advantage abuses down onto somebody. So you, an ethical person, will stand on that equal footing, expecting another ethical, decent human being to join you. But abusers don't. This is what they want. This is what they seek. They pursue the upper hand. Now, they don't want you to know that they've got the upper hand. In fact, they don't. They just like to think they do. And I'm going to show you all of this. This is part of their magic tricks. Is they like to paint a delusion that you are at their disadvantage so they can abuse you. But it's only the delusion that allows them this. So if you laugh in their face and go, okay, yeah, whatever, there's nothing there. Because it's all a delusion, their delusion. And they will do anything they can to secure the upper hand. So what you're really dealing with when you are dealing with any abuser, no matter what age, no matter where you are, is somebody who wants two things. They want the limelight. They want the upper hand. That's it. The more attention they get, they are saying, I've got the upper hand. And you've got to acknowledge it. That's why they want the limelight. Because if they have the limelight, they've got the megaphone to say, I have the upper hand. Now, you knowing that this is their trick is going to put a lot of power in your hands. You don't have the upper hand. You have no control over me. You're nothing. You have no authority. Authority is a really funny critter because it actually does not exist outside of the self. I'm going to show you this. Somebody comes along and they say, I have authority. No, you don't. Look at the Romanov family. They had authority until someone told them they didn't. Boop, gone. Because that's how it works. Authority only comes from the beholder, no one else, which means the only true authority is ever self-authority. Your teacher only has power over you if you decide they do. The minute you don't, the minute you decide you don't have authority over me, boop, uncontrolled classroom. That's just how it works. I went through this with my parents. My parents thought that they controlled me. My parents thought that they had authority over me. I decided that if they were going to allow my brother to beat me, they were not going to be allowed authority over me because they failed to protect me. So at 16, we went to war. I ran away. It was my third time running away from home. And I made it very clear to them, I will not be coming home until you understand that you are not my authority. If you are my authority, then you would protect me from my abusive brother. And you're not, therefore you have no authority. You have been stripped of that power. And it was a 3-day face-off until they understood and they yielded. And I came home and said, thank you for understanding. And I have been that way since. This is because I decided to strip them of the authority because the authority ultimately lies with the beholder. So the minute you decide that your abuser is no longer in authority over you, boom, they're gone. But you got to know this. You got to know how authority works. Physics is power. Power is an element of physics. Power cannot be taken, stolen, or transferred. Even in BDSM, we know this. It is the relationship between the sub and the dom, where the sub says to the dom, all right, you want to dominate me? Well, here's going to be the rules. And the dom says, okay. True story. The sub sits there and says, this is what you're going to do. This is my password. This is what I want. And here's the script. And you are going to follow it to the letter. And the dom says, yes. That's a contract. It is the sub making the rules because the sub has the authority. The dom is a puppet. Now, in BDSM, we don't talk about this. We know it, but we don't talk about it. But on the outside, if you're not in BDSM, you don't know this. This is one of our dirty little secrets. It's all a staged game because, yeah. And then abusers come along and they don't know that this is what's going on, which means when you've got a true dom, they're going, what the fuck are you doing? The sub is the one in charge. What are you doing? And the reason why the sub is in charge is because the person who is abused, who is the victim, is always the one in charge. I remember this one time I was in a classroom. I was trying to listen to my Spanish teacher, and this abusive bitch was sitting next to me, slandering me. And I just got up and walked out of the classroom. I would not allow her to say that shit to me. Now, I sat down on the outside of the door and I listened to the lesson from the outside of the door, but I would not allow her to just sit there and be a bitch to me. At the end of the lesson, I walked back in, I apologized to the teacher, I explained the situation, and the teacher said, glad you handled it. That's authority. That is what I teach people. So the concept that there's an authority over you, it's a delusion. That's one of the tricks that the abuser uses. No one has advantage over you. As if you are not literally being physically restrained, the rest is a delusion. The rest is a delusion. They weaponize your fear against you. Now, this is not to say there are some people who wouldn't snap and who would be dangerous. You've got to use your judgment. And we have classes for that to walk you through that kind of shit. And you're going to need an extraction for those situations. That is a special circumstance situation. And I am not talking about that type of abuse. So we're going to set that aside. We're going to look at this over here with the other kind of abuse, where you know that even though you're scared, deep down, you know they would never really, truly harm you. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Because otherwise you're tolerating it, which means you're teaching them that it's okay. And this is really what we need to talk about. When you are dealing with a bully, your lack of objection teaches them that it's okay. Objection. It's interesting how much that word is objective. I wonder if they're related. I mean, of course they're related. I wonder how. So when you are working with a bully, if you are in a situation, it's equivalent to, I really want to put this part on you, is it's you are the parent, they are the child. And the child is sitting there flapping its jaws, doing whatever. And if the parent doesn't say, that's not acceptable, boom. And that's what you want. That's what you're looking for. I have seen people do this. I have done it so many times. It's scary. You're going to need courage, first ethic. It's scary. Not saying it's not. Make sure you do it when you're safe. Don't do this if it's the other scenario. That's a whole nother cocktail that requires a different method. But in this cocktail where you know they're just an asshole, you might be terrified shitless, but you truly do know that they're actually not going to hurt you. That's when it really comes down to the wire of get in their face and tell them, that's not acceptable. It's just not allowed. Not allowed. I remember the first time, well, I did this many times. It wasn't the first time. It was one of the times I did this. I was talking to an abusive asshole, one of my ex-boyfriends, and he was treating me like fucking shit. And I said this to him, like, why do you think you can treat me like this? Because I always can. Not anymore. And I hung up the phone with him, cut him off, never spoke to him again. Actually, that's not true. I did speak to him again. He grabbed my ass in front of his wife, so I punched him in the ribs and it broke his rib. That was the last time I punched somebody. Yes, I did. He violated me. And I said to him, I told you, this was 20 years later too. It was great. 20 years later, I told you, you never get to abuse me again. It was like, great. Yeah, 20 years later, there I was. And it was just out of the blue. And I turned and I punched him and I broke his rib. And he's like, oh, and I said, I told you 20 years ago, you're not allowed to abuse me again. That's how it's done, people. That's how it's done. It's just, you got to teach them that's not allowed. So every time you're a doormat, every time you sit down, you're showing them, you're teaching them that it's okay. And this is really what it comes down to. It's the stand-up of, I'm not taking it anymore. We're done. It's the, we're going to ground you. Okay, this is a great way of putting it. I just watched the Batman Lego movie the other day. And Batman sat down and he tried to get on his computer. Alfred, the computer doesn't work. Peter, what's going on? I have the parental controls. You are out of control, and I've been reading this book, How to Control Your Out of Control Child. I have installed parental passwords. And Batman's like, no, it was great. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. You are the parent. You got to stand up and be like, no, time out. You don't get any of this anymore. And it's literally cutting them off. Now they're going to whine, they're going to squawk, they're going to scream, they're going to throw tantrums, and then you walk away. And that is how you communicate to those assholes that it's not allowed. And that is literally what we're doing. After that, there's no negotiation, there's no conversation, there's no talking. They want the limelight. That's what they want. They want you to engage. They want you to be upset. They want your emotions. They want your emotions. They want you to cry. They want you to feel bad. They want you to feel. That's their way of going, oh, if somebody's feeling around me, then they love me. No, that's not love. They've been naughty and they need to be shown that. So they're not allowed your feelings anymore. They're not allowed to think that their delusions work. That's what we're talking about. So when I say to you, all of these name calling, all of this bully shit, and this is it right here, is as you walk away, bullies have so many names to slander us. And no one is sitting here going, why aren't we calling them out? Instead, we're arguing. I really want to take a massive perspective scope and highlight this part. Somebody calls you a name on the playground, and you say back, that's mean. But we're not doing that. Adults don't do that. Adults justify it. I'm not that way. I'm this way. No. You don't defend yourself. You've done nothing wrong. They're an asshole. Why are adults doing this? It's something I don't understand. I really don't. It's a excuse you. If you don't have anything nice to say, like you're abusive, that's tyranny. If they're in a position over you that they think they have over you, if they are ruling your life, then it's tyranny. And if you have somebody like your mother, this is a great example. If you have a mother who calls you stupid or calls you names, right there, excuse you. Where do you get off thinking you can call people names? Didn't your mother tell you? That would be awesome. Say that to your mother. That would be really awesome. That would be really, really interesting, wouldn't it? Since when do you do that to people? You don't defend it. And we're in a society where we defend it. I'm not this. I'm not this. Don't defend it. Call them out. It's name calling. And no one, not one victim, is actually using the phrase name calling. Now, we do it with our children when I'm parenting with my children. And I'm hearing what the abuse my children went through when they were in school. And I'm like, wait a minute, the teachers were name calling you? Yeah, they did this. I'm like, the teachers were name calling you? Yeah, they were. They were using public humiliation and name calling as motivators. And my children were like, yeah, that's right. Oh, we're done now. We're done. That's what it looks like. They're name calling. Think about this. Name calling. So now here we are as adults, and someone calls us a snowflake. That's name calling. And we're not processing this in our brain. I really want to know, why aren't we processing this in our brain? And it's because we don't have enough disruptives happening. We require radical disruption. And this is it. This is what I do. I make you uncomfortable. I push you in all the right ways. I want to make you feel like push to your boundary of, oh, get out of the comfort zone. Wake up your subconscious mind. Call it for what it is. This is part of the bag of tricks that the narcissist uses as weapons. They've weaponized magic against us. And the more you understand all of these little things, the more you give name to what's actually going on. So what you really want to do with a narcissist, you want to humiliate them. But you also want to humiliate them in a way where it's a very delicate business, because you don't want to argue with them. You don't want to fuel with them. And if you just walk away, that's ignoring them. We've done that. Remember that? That was the thing back in the 80s. Just ignore them and walk away. No, it didn't work, did it? Here we are, and the situation's worse. Now, I started humiliating them, and I usually stick to 3 words or less. 3 words or less. And I do not permit like a back and forth thing. It's 3 words. What I've been saying is, I see you. That's what I say, because I do. I see you. I see your truth. That is what I say to, yeah, that's what I say. That's exactly what I say. When they are ugly to me, I go, I see your truth. I had one person, oh my God, he was a vile human being. He was slanderous, abusive, attacked strangers. I had written something completely indifferent, like it had nothing to do with anybody. It was generic. And he attacked me. Everybody else loved it. Everybody else was renting it. But this particular person, and here's the thing, his name was Yogi. His name, literally, he deemed himself a yogi. And he slandered me. He said, you need to do this. You need to write it this way. You're not making sense. You're confused. And I wrote the word yogi. Oh, I see you. That's all I said. That's all you need. Let them know that you see their bullshit. And that's really it. I see your bullshit. And then just shut it down. Just shut it down. I would not go back and forth. I would not say anything else. And you're saying it for you. You are absolutely saying it for you. It's this, when I say a war against this, it's the mindset of we're going to war and we are armed with knowledge, truth, logic, love, humanity, and ethics because we know now, because we know, and we're not taking it anymore. So now it's teaching you, understanding what abuse is in the moment. Oh, wait a minute, this is abuse. Why am I responding to abuse? Why am I giving them the limelight if they're abusing me? Oh, why am I, and it's, I really wish I could, how do I do this? I really want to take you out of the moment and just zoom out and look at it. We're watching two children on a playground. You've got this person who you've trusted, they're close to you. It might be your mother, it might be your husband, and they're just abusing the hell out of you. And you're justifying it, you're explaining it. Why? Take a massive step back. If you were watching this on the playground between two children, somebody bullying you for your milk, like, how would you handle this any different? Would you tell your children, oh, we'll give them excuses, explain why they're doing it? At the end of the day, it's very much a no. If you are not going to play nice in the playground, then you are not allowed to be on the playground. And I'm the playground, so denied access. It's that simple. This is my playground. That's your playground. Deny them access to the playground. No. If you're going to abuse me, you don't get to play on the playground. And then you walk away. It's that simple. No, you don't get to play on my playground. We're done here. And that's it. We're done here. And then be done there. Denied access. Now, what's going to happen is this. They're going to get, at first, oh my God, they're going to get very loud. This is the abuse we're expecting. This is why the war is going to get ugly, is because they're going to really object. We know this. We're going to prepare for it. They're going to get a lot of noise. And it's just a matter of, it's a mass walkout. That's what it is. It's every victim in the world putting down everything, going, we're done here. That's the last time you abuse me. And you walk away. And when they go to abuse somebody else, it's literally radical collaboration of every victim in the world going, no, we're done here. And suddenly they don't have victims anymore. Who are they going to abuse? They're going to get very lonely. Then they're going to try and call up everybody they know, and everybody unanimously is going to go, no, we're done here. You're not allowed to be an asshole. No, we're done here. We're done. And I literally mean it when I say, do not say it more than twice. We're done here. No, we're done. Silent treatment. They know what they did wrong. It's time to show them that it's not okay anymore. Silent treatment. Silent treatment. No, we're done here. I see your truth. We're done here. Boom. We do that unanimously across the board. Oh, and we're going to. It's going to be amazing. They're going to scream. They're going, well, I'm sorry. No, we're done here. Because no one changes that fast. No one. They're third perspectives. They're third perspectives. No one goes from third perspective to fourth perspective in that fast time. I know. I've clocked it. I know how long it takes to go from third perspective. They need to get to sixth ethical perspective. And I'm going to give you some perspective here. To go from a third perspective to an abuser, asshole perspective to a sixth, you're looking at 2 to 3 years at least. At least 2 to 3 years. At least 2 to 3 years. So if they're calling you up in 3 months, I'm telling you right now, they didn't do the work. Because what they need is their ethics, and they don't got those. They don't got those. They just don't, because they're assholes. So in order for them to ethically evolve, they're going to have to do some serious work. In fact, have them get a certificate from me. That's what you want to talk to me again. I want to see a Healing Garden certificate. There you go. I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll create a I'm not an asshole anymore certificate, and I'll put them through my boot camp. There you go. We're going to call it Bully Boot Camp. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. Bully Boot Camp. You want to talk to me again? Go to the Healing Gardens Bully Boot Camp. When I see a certificate, then I'll talk to you. And they're not getting my certificates until I pass them. Ooh, and I'm a bitch. Ooh, I got standards. Ooh, that'll be interesting. I'll break their habits. Oh, yeah, that'll be fun. So, yeah, I'm going to do the Bully Boot Camp. And, yeah, that's a great way to do it. If they truly, legitimately want to be decent people, oh, they'll do it. And if they're just vindictive assholes, well, there you go. Did you get your certificate yet? Boom, done. Oh, this is going to be so easy, isn't it? Well, that just simplified everything. I'll just put them through the ethics. And they will not get that until I see that they are, oh, and you can't fake that. Oh, no, I'm going to be even worse. I'm going to make them get to the 7th ethic. Oh, the 7th ethic is a bitch. The 7th ethic is judgment day. 7th ethic is judgment day. You wish God was judging you. No, it's just you judging you. Oh, yeah. 7th ethic is a bitch. So yeah, I will give them the certificate when they reach the 7th ethic. There you go. So we're going to do bully boot camp. And it'll be a free course. So it'll cost them nothing. But if they want that certificate, they're going to have to go through the course. Oh, yeah. Yep. That's what we're going to do. That's an easy, black and white, cut dry solution to the problem. You want X? Well, you're going to have to do that. I'm going to let you tell me how much the certification should cost them for their abusive ways. I'm not going to come up with that price. You tell me. There you go. And if they don't, and so if you have somebody who legitimately, like, they're a good person, but they really need some ethical work, bully boot camp. If they're serious about wanting to change, they'll get their asses to bully boot camp. So this is really it. It's literally a staged, we're done here, and deny them the abusive culprit, teaching you every one of their bag of tricks. They've only got 2 bag of tricks. It's the same bag, but they change it out so that they recolor and relabel some of the old tricks. So you think it's a new bag of tricks when it's really not. That's one of their tricks. Yeah, that's one of their tricks. They're that genius. And once I sit down and I break that all down to you, you'll be like, oh, yeah. And then you'll recognize it. And then you'll be like, oh, you're just using one of your bag of tricks. No. And that way, you know exactly when you need to put that gambit down of, no, we're done here. Absolutely, we're done here. Absolutely. And really all it is, and this is it, is they're behaving that way because their parents did not teach them properly. That's it. They're not bad people. They're just, they didn't receive proper parenting. So that's something I know how to do. So we'll go ahead and that'll be one tactic, one thing we go through. But when you hear the name calling, and I'm going to compose a list of this is name calling, process it. And you're going to see them and go, oh, it's not gaslighting. It's not gaslighting people. It's name calling. We throw, and this is the kind of thing where they wrote up the word gaslighting from that awesome movie that I haven't watched yet. And they throw that stupid thing around without realizing it's just name calling. You're just dealing with a bully on the playground, except you're not 10 anymore, and it's not 1920s, and they're not beating you up for your 25 cents on the milk. It's not 20 cents. It was like 5 cents back then. It's like 2 pennies for your milk. Yeah, it was like 2 cents, maybe 1 cent for milk back then. She's like, what? My 16-year-old just went, what? So you were getting bullied for 2 cents. God. What a fucked up world this is. All right. So the light workers course it starts off with that conditioning of, well, it's more like showing you, it's Don Quixote's mirror of reality of, we're going to show you what you're really dealing with. It's breaking down the delusion. It's stepping you outside of that delusion. It's giving you this big picture of, let's show you what you're really dealing with, and then going through the process, and then giving you the tools you require for abuse-proof you. And yeah, this is a great place to start. So thank you so much, and may the kindest of words always find you.